Now it's time for lefties losing it, starting with why you should never pick the DEI hires. Here is Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department Chief Pamela Smith, a diversity pick herself, who seems to struggle with even the most basic of reporter questions.
Tell us what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor, speaking to you, or how does this work?
So the executive order is clear. The president has requested MPD services in our home rule charter.
No, she doesn't know it, scurries off, passes it on to the next person. And look, let's just get this straight. The police chief doesn't even know what a chain of command is. She doesn't know if she is the one in charge, would you believe? And this, folks, is what happens when you make the DEI pick the DEI pick. Because Pamela Smith, by the way, used to be the department's chief equity officer and now, poof, promoted to chief. Say no more. And now to MSNBC host Simone Sanders Townsend, who claims her vast life experience as a black woman provides a unique perspective on why adding more police will not make Washington, D.C. safe.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe. I'm a black woman in America. I do not always think that more police make streets safer.
Oh, well, that solves it then, doesn't it? That solves all the problems because you're a black woman in America. And then the MSNBC continued to roll out the laughs. This guy is more worried about climate change than getting mugged.
When I go to D.C., I'm not afraid of losing my wallet so much as I'm afraid of losing my vote. I'm not afraid of losing my wallet so much as I'm afraid that my children's freedom to breathe will be stolen in a world where climate change policy is non-existent.
Oh, I mean, it just shows you how out of touch these elite lefties are with middle America. They are completely divorced from actual reality. And now to the latest in lefty meltdowns over ICE arrests. This deluded CNN guest went into full brain fart mode, claiming the raids are so unfair because not enough Europeans are being deported from French bakeries at the same time.
They're not asking to go and raid, the French bakeries and the people who've come over from Europe.
Is there a bunch of French bakery issues that we don't know about tonight? Breaking news tonight, there's French bakery problems.
No, please, no, not the French bakeries, not the baguettes and the croissants, please, no. And now here is a PSA for all the ICE agents out there. Look out.
When Donald Trump's reign of terror is over, we will be rounding you all up and putting you in jail. We're going to raid and destroy your homes. We're going to handcuff you and take you away in front of your families. I'll fight a f***ing ICE agent. I'll take my chances in court. Around and find out. Have a nice day.
He seems like a real great guy. Great guy, doesn't he? Good luck with that one. And now to the psycho child Greta Thunberg, who appears to be resurrecting her doomed Gaza mission.
We are sailing again to break the siege.
And this time, we're sailing with dozens of boats.
And with coordinated mobilizations from 44 countries.
Yes, the pathetic little goblin and her vegan-looking hippie friends are heading back out to the war zone on that freedom flotilla to save the world, apparently, because it went so well for them last time, didn't it? Well, despite the lefty meltdowns over Trump sending the National Guard to Washington, D.C., his plan has worked already.
Last night, approximately 850 officers and agents were surged across the city. They made a total of 23 arrests, including multiple other contacts. Last night, these arrests consisted of homicide, firearms offenses, possession with intent to distribute narcotics, fare evasion, lewd acts, stalking, possession of a high-capacity magazine, fleeing to elude in a vehicle, no permits, driving under the influence, reckless driving, and a bench warrant.
Joining me now is Newsweek Senior Editor-at-Large, Josh Hammer. Josh, good to see you. The left said it wouldn't work. They've cried, they've carried on, and look at the success in just 24 hours.
You know, not 20 minutes before I started chatting with you here on this show, actually, I got a text from a buddy of mine who lives in the DuPont Circle area of Washington, D.C. So for those who are not familiar, this is This is really one of the hardest hit areas of the crime epidemic in DC over the past 5 years. I used to actually years ago work for a company based right there in DuPont Circle, so I know it extremely well. And what my buddy said was that when he was walking around a street nearby on Saturday to walk his dog, he saw a homeless person defecating in a lane on the road. And that as of this morning, he couldn't see a single homeless person around him, and that there were National Guardsmen everywhere. So order has been restored. Order has been restored to the nation's capital in the United States of America there. It's amazing, frankly, that it got to this point. I mean, this goes back all the way to 1973, this failed experiment. And yes, it is a failed experiment in Congress allowing D.C. to try to govern itself, which, by the way, is actually not what our founding fathers here in the United States actually envisioned. The federal district wasn't supposed to be independent at all, actually. It was supposed to be a tiny sliver where the lawmakers go to pass laws, get the heck out there, and Congress was supposed to run it directly. But this policy is a rare win-win-win. It is good politics, it is good policy, and it is sound constitutional law as well. I'm a tremendous fan of this move, and it's already yielding results. And as someone, I live in Florida, but I'm in Washington, D.C. pretty frequently for this reason, that reason, and so forth there. I'm pretty excited, frankly, to go back the next time and see it all for myself.
Oh, well, that's really great to hear. And I've got to say, Josh, the left-wing media, though, they are still so in denial. Have a listen to US Attorney Jeanine Pirro go to town on a reporter who claimed that there was no crime in DC.
Oh, stop it. We are putting all kinds of resources onto the street. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Press release hailing the drop in crime rates at the end of it. What changed?
It's never enough. This changed. This changed. It's never enough. You tell these families crime has dropped. You tell the mother of the intern who was shot going out from McDonald's near the Washington Convention Center, oh, crime is down. You tell the kid who was just beat the hell and back with a severe concussion and a broken nose, crime is down. No, that falls on deaf ears. And my ears are deaf to that. And that's why I fight the fight.
Josh, that is one of the best shutdowns I have ever seen.
Yeah, Jeanine Pirro is awesome. She was actually the lead county prosecutor in Westchester County, New York, back when I was growing up in Westchester. So I've actually been familiar with her name for really, frankly, most of my life. I mean, ever since I was a child, frankly. So, it's really great to see Judge Jeanine actually get back out there because, she was doing the whole Fox News media circuit for a very long time. It's really amazing to see her get out there and try to enforce the law again, which is really the best thing that she is good at. This notion that the crime in Washington, D.C. is down, it's an absurd talking point. And what the left-wing media are doing here in the United States is they are saying that compared to 30 years ago, crime in Washington, D.C. is down, goes the claim. But why cherry pick the data? Why go to 30 years ago? If you actually go back to 60, 65 years ago, go back to 1960, I think is the starting point there. Crime is at least twice, if not more than twice, that high in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Look, anecdotally, again, I can tell you as someone who has lived there for multiple years, I spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. over the years. I know the city inside and out. Back in the day, you could walk around very nice areas, Georgetown, Foggy Bottom, Adams Morgan, DuPont Circle, and you wouldn't have to fear for a rape or a carjacking, a gangbang in there. But the fact that Washington, D.C. has gotten to this point, I think, can be illustrated by one recent example, and that's really all I need to prove my point, which is you had 2 Israeli embassy staffers who were gunned down in broad daylight, not 3 to 4 blocks from the National Mall there in Washington, D.C. in late May. People forgot that happened. That was in broad daylight in Washington, D.C. That's not the kind of thing that would have happened back when I was living just a few blocks from there myself 10, 15 years ago.